you're watching the somewhat capable crafty hands of the CrunchyParent from CrunchyParent.com, the website that highlights the everyday impact of attachment parenting ideals and choices on one family's life, my family. So you're going to pretend that it's not boring to watch two random hands in action. I'm going to pretend you're not looking at my thighs this whole time. Today we're going to work on a little crafting project. Now, in highlighting attachment parenting ideals, I should mention that we really value handcrafted objects and we like to work with natural materials whenever possible. So, in that spirit, today we're going to be working on a felted wool ball. So let me tell you, why do you want to make a felted wool ball? Well, first I should show you a felted wool ball. That will probably help to illustrate this. Ta-da! Felted wool ball. It's decorative, it's fun, it's functional. You can throw it, you can roll it. If it's smaller, you can juggle it, or if you have really, really big hands. It's great for indoor gentle play. You throw this, it's not going to knock over that lamp like that Brady Bunch episode or anything tragic. No one's going to get hurt or injured, hopefully. It's also really great for young children, even small babies when they're in that I'm lying down on the floor phase but I want to explore the world. It's something great you can give them that they can hold over their heads, they can look at, and if it falls, it's not going to hurt them. They're not going to cry or get upset. It's just going to drop. It's very gentle, very lightweight. This one has, if you can hear, a little soft jingle from a little bell that I felted inside. We're not going to get quite that fancy today, but it'll still be, pretty fancy. So, the materials that you need for a felted wool ball include wool batting. Now, when I'm doing a larger felting project, I like to use what's called wool core batting, or a natural wool. This is a 2-pound bat. I always recommend the best source for wool batting is West Earl Woolen Mill in Pennsylvania. They charge about $5 to $6 per pound plus shipping for a bat of natural wool. Now this is a 2-pound bat, and you'll see here when I open this up, it looks like a very small little parcel of wool. It expands and grows. Yeah, Crunchy Daddy's amazed. It's taking over our house and is really quite a lot for you to play with. Wool is one of the greatest craft materials. Wool batting comes in so handy for needle felted and wet felted projects. It's also the material used to stuff Waldorf dolls and other Waldorf soft toys. So today we're going to start with our core wool. And I should say the other materials that you are going to want to have available to you is a bowl of hot water. Some people like to use a bowl of cold water as well. A towel, some dish soap. You can use any kind. Some people will probably say you should use some versus another. I've never had a problem with anything I've used. And then you're going to want some colored wool batting to make your ball a little exciting. Now, if you want to get fancy, there are some other materials that you can use as well, and I'll mention those as we go along. But first you're going to start with your core wool. Now this is beautifully washed and carded wool batting. It's very thin and delicate. It's lovely. You're going to want to start by taking strips of your wool and just tear them off. You shouldn't cut your wool. When you cut the wool fibers, you end up with those short little cut fibers at the end, and they won't felt very well. So you do want to always naturally tear it. Now you want to take your strip, just again a thin strip, and you may need to peel off some layers of it to have it nice and thin. I was taught to stick this little finger in the middle, wrap these around, and roll. Kind of rotating it to keep it around spherical shape. And you can tug on the wool a bit too to tighten it up so that as you're rolling it, it's rolling into kind of a firm ball. Okay, and you just want to add on layer after layer and strip after strip, again rotating your ball a bit to keep a nice round form. Now, as I said, wool batting, or this natural wool core, is the base of Waldorf toys, Waldorf dolls. This process of creating a wool ball is also exactly the process that you would go through if you were making a Waldorf doll and you wanted to make the head. It always starts out with a nice, tightly wound ball of wool. And if you have trouble winding it nice and tight and even, you can use some other tricks like needle felting to tighten it up, or you could even, I suppose, wet felt a ball of wool to have it become the head of a Waldorf doll. Now, the sense of the wrapping process, you would continue to do that, and you see it holds together pretty well. The fibers do kind of attach onto each other and stick together, but you're going to want to keep adding on layer after layer until you get a nice big ball of wool. Ooh, and I got a little bit of green on there, you'll forgive that. Remember, when you felt, it's going to shrink down as the fibers adhere and sort of stiffen up. They're going to shrink. So you want something that's a good size. But also keep in mind that this is the core of your ball. You're going to lay over some colored batting as well. So it will grow a little bit after it shrinks. Now, you take your wool ball. There's a couple different ways to approach the felting process. I'm going to start by showing you again the one with the least bells and whistles. You've just got your wool, you've got your soap, you've got your water, you've got your hands. You want to hold that ball in your hands and dunk it in your water. Now you're going to see those air bubbles coming up. That's the water penetrating to the core of the ball of wool, pushing that air out as the water fills up all those spaces. And you just want to wait until all those bubbles come out to signal that the water has penetrated all the way to the core of the ball of wool, because you don't want to end up with this tightly felted ball of wool around this soft squishy core that never got felted. It's not going to be very solid for you. So you'll see the bubbles are slowing down here, and that just about signals that my wool ball has gotten completely saturated with the water. Now when that happens, I'm going to want to very, very gently lift that ball out of the water. Now the reason I want to be gentle is you kind of see here that wool starts to shift around. And if you're too vigorous at this stage of the process, you're just going to end up with a big old hairball. Now you can start by adding some of the soap. Some people like to add their soap to the water from the start. I kind of like to put it on my ball as the process moves along. I'm going to add a little water and just very slowly and gently rotate that ball in my hand. I heard, actually I read somewhere on some website, someone described this process as when they work with children, they say, hold the ball of wool like you would be holding a tiny baby bunny in the beginning. You want to be really gentle. And that's the same language you might want to use with children if you're engaging them in this process. So at the beginning you have to be really gentle as those fibers are still shifting around. They haven't quite kind of held on to each other and hooked on. But as you can see, my ball's already shrinking down quite a bit here. And as the process continues, you're going to feel the fibers kind of tighten up. They're going to shrink. You're not going to have as much of this sort of wrinkly extra material on the outside. You can occasionally dunk your ball if the suds are starting to kind of overwhelm your hands, run up your elbows, drip onto your table. It may also help, as I said, some people like to use an optional bowl of cold water, and you can alternate between the hot water and the cold water, and as some people say, that kind of shocks the wool and makes this process go a little faster, the felting process. But as you can see, it goes pretty quickly. And as it tightens up, you can also add a little more pressure, kind of squeeze out a little of that water and bring more of that wool down. You don't want to do that too quickly though, or you're going to end up with this kind of wrinkly mess of a ball, which, to be perfectly honest, wouldn't be the end of the world because you're just going to cover it up with more fibers. Felting is a very forgiving process. If you end up with mistakes, you just add more wool and keep at it until you get a finished product that you're happy with. Now, I'm going to stop here with this ball, although ideally you'd want to continue to felt it, but it's holding together pretty nicely. I want to illustrate for you some other methods for felting your wool ball that might actually make the process a little bit easier but involve, as I said, a few more bells and whistles.